Welcome back to the Crypto Deep Dive, the show where we unpack crypto's most complex stories and explore the trends shaping the future of digital finance. I'm Laurie.
And I'm Nick. Thanks for tuning in to episode 10. Can't believe we're already here.
I know, and today we're diving into a big one, XRP. It's been one of the most talked about assets lately. We're covering where it stands now, how high it could go, and what needs to happen for that to actually become reality.
Yeah, XRP's got a mix of hype, hope, and high stakes regulations swirling around it right now. Lots to unpack. But before we unpack current, future, and maybe dream-worthy prices for XRP, please do the honors, Laurie, and tell us where things at with the markets.
Absolutely. Today, Sunday, 18th of May, 2025, at time of recording, Bitcoin is at 104,260 US dollars, Ethereum is sitting at about $2,511, and XRP is at 2.3929. We've got XLM at around 29 cents, Sol is at around $171.5, and ADA is trading at just under 76 cents. So Nick, let's start with the basics. What's going on with XRP at the moment?
Right now, XRP is hovering between roughly $2.40 and $2.60. That range tells you we're in a tug of war between bullish optimism and bearish caution. There's been a huge spike in whale activity. Over $350 million worth of XRP moved recently. That's fueling speculation about major liquidity shifts.
Is this tied into the ongoing SEC case?
Exactly. The drama there is far from over. Judge Torres recently rejected a joint motion from the SEC and Ripple, which delays any immediate clarity, and with it, ETF approval hopes. That's kept investor confidence on edge. Until there's closure, XRP's momentum is partially capped by regulatory uncertainty.
But there are bullish predictions floating around, right?
Oh, definitely. Some analysts see XRP breaking $3 if buying pressure picks up. A spot ETF approval could be a game changer. JP Morgan estimates that could bring $8 billion in inflows. And a popular crypto analyst, eGrag Crypto, has made headlines with a $9 target. He's basing that on historical fractal patterns and Fibonacci extensions. Though others are saying that technical analysis does not apply to XRP, potentially also because of the ongoing debate that the XRP price is artificially suppressed.
9 sounds promising, but I imagine there are risks too.
Absolutely. XRP recently hit resistance and couldn't push through, so the risk of a pullback is real. If bearish sentiment gains traction, we could see drops to $1.70, even $1.50. And if the SEC case drags on longer, XRP might stay stuck in this sideways range between $2 and $3 for a while.
What are the technicals saying?
Key support levels are $2.31, which is critical, $2.10, which is a fragile line, and $1.70, which is a major bearish threshold. On the upside, resistance sits at $2.83, that's the breakout point, then $3, which is a strong psychological barrier, and $3.40, which is the historical peak.
So mixed signals, technically speaking?
Exactly, but some indicators look positive. The RSI is near neutral, and the Gaussian channel just flipped bullish, which might hint at upcoming upward momentum if you side with the technical analysts.
Okay, Nick, let's talk about the bold stuff, the high-end XRP price predictions. Some of them are, well, wild.
Yeah, the ultra-bullish projections are pretty eye-popping. Let's break it down by tiers.
Please do.
First up, triple-digit XRP. Some analysts believe we could see XRP hit $100 by 2030. The logic? If XRP becomes the standard for global bank settlements and is integrated with CBDCs and cross-border tokenization, demand could skyrocket.
So XRP essentially becomes financial plumbing?
Exactly. That alone could push it into the three-digit range. Then there's the four-digit XRP camp, people who think XRP could hit 1,000 or more. They argue that once XRP is widely used for tokenized assets and financial instruments, its value could reflect trillions of dollars moving through the system.
And then there's the big one.
Yup, five-digit XRP or $10,000 plus, that's the most extreme prediction. It assumes XRP becomes the backbone of a new global financial system, replacing SWIFT, adopted by central banks worldwide and flooded with institutional liquidity.
That sounds ambitious.
It is, and to be clear, it's not impossible, but it would require massive, unprecedented changes in the way global finance works. We're talking regulatory clarity, complete central bank adoption, and infrastructure-level integration. So while exciting, it's a high bar.
So what would it take to actually push XRP to these kinds of levels? Let's say hypothetically we're aiming for triple or even four-digit XRP. What needs to happen?
Great question. There are 6 key drivers. Let's go through them.
All right, let's start with the big one.
Institutional adoption and global liquidity. If RippleNet becomes the global backbone for cross-border payments, you'd see massive liquidity inflows. If central banks start using XRP for settlements, demand could explode. Plus, tokenizing real-world assets using XRP could integrate trillions of dollars into the ecosystem.
So XRP becomes the rails for moving tokenized real estate, securities, even commodities?
Exactly. Next, regulatory clarity and ETF approvals. A clear framework would eliminate barriers for big money players. And if an XRP-based ETF gets approved, that could mirror the kind of surge we saw with Bitcoin ETFs.
And that all ties back to the SEC case, right?
Right? XRP being officially classified as a commodity rather than a security would boost confidence in a big way.
What's next?
Supply and demand mechanics. XRP has a fixed supply, 100 billion tokens. If whales and institutions start accumulating, that creates scarcity. Throw in burn mechanisms or escrow adjustments, and the circulating supply shrinks even further. That's textbook supply shock economics.
Okay, let's talk Ripple's strategic moves.
Ripple might acquire Circle, which could give them a bigger piece of the stablecoin pie. And if they keep building partnerships with banks and payment processors, it only strengthens XRP's use case. Integrating with CBDCs or acting as a swift alternative would be a huge credibility boost.
And of course, we can't forget market sentiment.
Absolutely. If Bitcoin cracks 100,000 permanently and goes even higher, XRP could ride that momentum. Retail FOMO, analyst hype, and social media buzz all add fuel to the fire.
Final piece?
Tech advancements. The XRPL is improving its scalability and adding smart contract capabilities. That expands XRP's use cases. Long-term, AI-driven financial automation could plug XRP into global systems in ways we haven't even imagined yet.
So, big price leaps are theoretically possible, but only if all these stars align.
Exactly. It's not a guarantee, but if XRP can lock in regulation, adoption, and innovation, it's got a shot at rewriting the rules.
Nick, this has been one of our most fascinating episodes yet. XRP's potential is staggering. But like you said, it's all about execution.
Yep, the fundamentals are solid, but we need clarity, institutional buy-in, and real-world use to see those extreme price levels.
That's it for today's episode of the Crypto Deep Dive. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave us a comment.
And let us know, where do you see XRP going over the next 5 years? We'll catch you next time.
Until then, stay curious, stay cautious, and stay crypto savvy.